Just tell him, cut.
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
Okay, right.
It's on now.
You start with him. Stop.
Hey guys, it's Steven here. Welcome again to Futureproof the podcast with Steven and Sam. So today we have quite a show for you guys, and just waiting for my colleague while he's getting a few things done. But please share the page, share the video, share this live with your mates. Like it. We appreciate you guys interacting with us and your comments. It really does help us to come up with new content for you guys. Unfortunately, today we are unable to have Happy, the guest from last week, join us. Nonetheless, I think she'll join us next week because I don't think we've finished our conversation. So welcome back, Sam.
Thank you.
So yeah, please go and share the page. Please go and share the page. Go on ahead and like the page. Share and like the page. Go on. Just gonna get a few people on before we start. We've been live, hey, while I was playing with the guitar. All right. Just waiting to get people come in. Oh, we was live.
Yes, we were.
Are we live now?
We are.
Okay. Please share the page, guys. Please share the video with your friends on your page. Just gonna wait a little bit, let people come in. Then we're gonna go ahead with today's topic. Sweet.
Share the video if you haven't shared it yet. So we're waiting for more people to come in. We got 2 seeing, 2 viewing. All right, come on. We've got an interesting topic for you guys today. So last week we had a great time with Happy. She was actually, very, very well knowledgeable. I like inputs when it comes to the wedding stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think there would be an African woman who would say, I don't actually care about the white wedding.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would actually...
Or any women at all, you know.
For that matter, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was expecting that they were like, no, that white have to happen, and all that stuff. But yeah, she sort of like surprised me.
Yeah, we need more women like that in our lives.
Yes. As you guys are joining in, today we have some interesting topic for you guys.
Yeah.
That we I'm looking forward to discuss it, and I want to see what people are thinking. Oh, by the way, if YouTube is your preferred platform, we're also streaming right now live on YouTube. You can also go in there. Unfortunately, that is not monitored. So if you went there, if you try to communicate with us, probably...
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, Stephen is tuned in there. That's cool. So you would be able to send your question through there as well. And again, today we also have the chance of bringing one guest to talk to us live.
Yes.
So if you wanted to come in, you just get to send us the message that you're interested. And our tech guys at the back there will send you the link on how you can call in. But all we wanted to ask is please make sure where you're sitting is quiet and you've got adequate amount of light that we can actually see you away from all noises, so we can actually have a good talk. So yes, today's topic, I'm very sure some of you guys might have seen the title that we've put on Facebook. And yeah, it's a big one. Today's topic is about the bride price and dowry. And
that's a big one.
The question I've put there, does it have a cultural value, Or is it just an opportunity for people to make money? Investment plans.
Does dowry have a cultural value, especially for us in the diaspora?
But then again, dowry and bride price are two different things. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to
It's
explore.
the same thing, is
It's
it?
two different things. We're going to explore this today.
Dowry,
Dowry and
okay,
bride price is two
to
different
me,
things.
I thought it was just like a word play.
No,
It's not.
they're not the same.
Wow. That's a revelation right there. So explain to us. Explain to me. I don't know.
So back in the days when we were talking about dowry, dowry is paid to the husband's family. The woman pays, or the woman's family pays that to the
Back in the
husband's
days,
family.
in which days and whose days?
Back in the days, in the age of the what do you call it? The baby boomers.
So
All right?
back 1970s,
Back in history,
60s,
yes.
and okay.
So the dowry was sort of like it's sort of like a security bond for the to keep the woman's standard of living. It's sort of to support her to continue. And also the idea behind it is if the husband died or separation happened, she is covered with that dowry payment.
But who's that?
Her family contributes that to the husband. And also if there is any separation, the husband is required to return
the money
that money
back to the family.
Yes.
Yo.
That's dowry. Now when we talk about bride price,
Okay.
bride price is what the husband's family pays to the woman.
Okay.
And that was sort of like a sentimental value. It's not.
It's not the same price as the dowry, you're
Yes.
saying?
Dowry is a lot more than the bride price.
Oh.
Yes. So dowry is, they call it the woman's wealth. So it's what she brings into the relationship from
Okay.
her side of family.
Yeah, yeah.
And now the bride price is what the husband pays as a token of appreciation for the woman.
Ah.
And that was not asked. And it was not negotiated. It was
In which
what
culture was this? Because I've never heard of this.
this is start from the Greeks. Indians do the dowry, and I think Indians do the dowry and the bride price, both of them.
Yeah,
And some countries in Asia do that as well.
yeah.
So, and it was not actually called bride price.
Uh-huh.
This term bride price has just came maybe in the 80s here. But it was called the bridal gift.
Bridal gift.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it was more of like a token of appreciation from the husband's family to the wife's family.
Yeah.
It's something that they bring with them. And it was mostly kettle, furniture, house furniture, things like that. Some money were given, but was not significant.
It was more like house furnitures and
Yes,
cattle. Okay, okay.
it was that.
Yeah, just for living
Just
purposes.
exactly.
kind of thing. Okay.
And yeah, but now at what point did it turn to a price? And that's where the
So
most
you're saying this culture was in Sudan in 1970s?
this has been for Sudan for a long time. We had this for a very long time.
Okay.
And if you remember Emmanuel Kembe, he sang about it. He said during our mother's time, my dad married to my mom with the price of a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
You remember the song?
Okay, yeah.
He sang about that.
Mm-hmm.
So today we want to talk about it. It's got a very good value to it. And the whole idea was to appreciate the family of the woman, for the woman and all that stuff. And also some part of the culture for the man to show that he is actually capable of going to that step. So it shows his maturity and readiness when he comes with that amount of money.
So maturity and ready. Okay, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
So maturity was measured based on how much money you can afford.
It's not so much of affordability.
Okay.
It's what you bring.
But then,
As an appreciation.
But look
Yeah.
at our culture in Sudan, right? When it comes to this dowry thing,
Yeah.
and a young man is getting ready to get married. It's not him that collects all the money by himself. Like his uncle, his brothers, all of them.
Back in the days, that was the case.
So yeah, so I'm saying, well, how
Yeah.
is that even a sign of maturity if other people are going to be the ones?
It's more of judgment against the
Contributing.
whole family, not just the person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the whole groom family that, okay, we are ready to go into this step and we can actually take care of your daughter. And this is the proof. We're bringing this along.
This is our son.
This is our
You
son.
know, we support him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also it was done based on your sort of like your financial status. If you're rich, of course, you bring in
They charge
big
you
amount.
more.
So not so much of charge. You were not charged. You bring.
But they ask for it though.
No. Back in the days, there was not asking.
Okay.
Back in the days, there was what you bring. There is the tradition where they write a letter of the things that is to be brought, but that is not the bride price. That was just, you know how they have the process of when they sit down and they talk about the wedding, and then they wanted to bring, you got to bring the cloth for the gold, you got to bring the tumbak for the
Yeah.
this stuff they do write it.
Yeah.
And these are the things that non-negotiable you got to bring.
Yeah.
Because this is what constitutes the tradition and how the tradition will go forward. But then when it comes to the point of the bridal gift, it's what you as a family or as the husband bring in as a gift. So it's not a set value that you are asked to bring. This asking of set value only started recently. And that's where most of the controversial comes.
It must have been like, because I think my grandfather when because this is weird, bro. This is where I disagreed with this dowry thing. So wait, who died? No, so my grandpa died, right? So I want you to listen to this. This is why I start to have second question. Start to question this custom of dowry. So my grandfather died. God bless him. He died at around 100 and whatever age. I wish I get that years, many years. And then grandma died as well. But then the family of grandma refused for the body to be buried. Guys, listen to this. The body was not to be buried because apparently grandpa did not pay all of the dowry money. And they demanded that that money be paid or that body will stay in that house and rot. And yo, I was like, what kind of system is that, bro?
Are you talking about dowry or bride price?
I'm talking about dowry. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, if my grandpa, I think, if he got married on the dowry system, then what you're saying must have been way back, like you're talking about Hitler time, like early 90s, or early 900s, very early. Because I think my grandfather, when he got married, he got married through the dowry price, the dowry method, what we use today.
Right.
So, and the guy was born very, very early. Like you're talking about it. His birthday is like 1930 something, you know. So, but it's interesting to know, you know, when I heard that about my grandfather and grandmother, I'm just like, nah, I don't want to be part of that, because it's like the value of the person, even in their death, is based on the money. So, however much money my grandfather owed, if he didn't pay that, grandmother wouldn't have been buried. And I just didn't see that was a right thing to do. It's not even logical. It's not common sense. It's wrong on so many levels.
Some cultures actually do that back home. And this is not, I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that. That's actually did happen a lot, many times.
Yeah.
Where, if you didn't, it's not the dowry, it's the bride price. If you didn't pay the bride price, then that would happen. So, and one of the guys was talking about, he was saying that the definition of bride price in a dictionary, it's funny. It's apparently it's the money that is paid for the family of the girl. It's not for the girl herself. So
yes,
it's not
for the family,
it's not the bridal gift as for her.
That's how I understand it.
But it's for the family.
Yeah. No, yeah.
So that's that. Now, most of the time, the whole idea of this marriage and things, for it to go ahead, it's
Your volume.
Yeah, it's all dependent on this money.
Yeah.
If this money is not cleared, we're not going anywhere.
It's like your card bounced, man.
Yes.
Our girl is not going anywhere.
And now here's the other controversial of it as well. The other point of it. If you're a rich man and you bring whatever you're asked, also this thing will not go ahead. Because now they'll turn around and say, oh, our daughter's not for sale.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you bring all the money that you're asked to bring, that creates a problem. If you don't bring the money that you're asked to bring, it also creates problems.
So what's the purpose then? Like, what are they trying to achieve?
This is what I want people now to talk to us. What is the purpose of, what do you think is the purpose of this bridal price? And I know the whole idea or the whole reason behind wedding is to bring families together in unity and harmony. But let me talk about us in this culture. Weddings is where problem initiates. And the biggest contributor of that is the money. If the money is not on the table, we're not talking about this. And then there is all this other stuff happens in there. And the funny thing is they turn around and say, this is how weddings are.
As if it's like it's a good thing.
So yeah, this is how weddings are. We fight, but later on we end up, once this later on comes, once everything is settled and is paid. There is a good aspect to it, to continuing with the culture. And I totally agree with that.
Which is?
As in, if we look at it from the point of view of sort of like assessing the man's ability to provide, assessing the man's ability to show that he's ready to take that step. That's for me, if it's put on that end, that's understandable. I can work with that. But then if bring it to the rigidity that,
so like how are they even supposed to know that? Like, are they gonna ask for your balance sheet, like your bank account?
No, it's just you pay the money that they ask you to pay, and
that's where the problem comes. There, that's what I'm saying. That's where the problem comes.
But here again, I am totally against the asking point of it, like where I have to say, bring me $60,000, bring me $70,000, and then I'll let you marry. I'm against that because I don't see any value towards that. Literally, because the moment we start saying, this is the price, then we're talking about transaction. And the moment this whole idea of getting married turns to transactional relationship, then the whole concept and the whole value of it falls apart. Because I know a lot of women don't like this idea of, oh, I'm not for sale, I was not bought. Hey, there was a price put on you.
But
what do you call that?
I think, okay, so I think there's two views, right? So we live here in the diaspora. Women have a voice to speak. The country, the policies allow for freedom of speech. But back home, especially women, they don't have that freedom of speech, especially if you're not a man. And you're not at a certain age, like you're above 30 or you don't have kids. Like there's a certain qualification you're going to have if you're going to have a voice in the community. I'm saying that because, like, so when a young girl grows up and now she's getting married, she feels like the only time that she's actually valuable is when another man is coming to pay for her, because that's the only time in her life that she actually gets to get publicly acknowledged as someone that's valuable. Like her parents didn't just give her away like some useless thing, you know. And some for that reason, there are some women that actually would defend it, especially women who live back home, and I would say in Sudan. They would demand that, because in a culture perspective, that's the only time when the value of the lady is actually sort of celebrated and there's a demand put on it, kind of thing.
Right.
But in the diaspora here, I think it's like our views are changing a little bit. And I think even though we might see that it's bad, or it might not apply for the environment we live in, whether you live in Australia or you live in the US or you live in somewhere in UK or you live in London or somewhere. It might not apply because the environment you live in, the policies that you live under in Australia or UK or US is different to the lifestyle and culture that people live in Sudan or other parts of Africa. So the danger is to go, well, we want to end this dowry and bride price custom, and then in a society where women don't even have a voice. Think about that. What do you think is going to happen to women if that is removed? Boys are just going to go rampant, man. You know what I mean? I think boys are just going to go crazy and just feel like they can do whatever they want to do. So in some ways, I do agree with what you're saying. So there is value in it. But I think it's changed. to some degree. And I've seen a few of my mates who got married and had to pay bride price, and I saw the stress on their faces. And I'm like, nope, that's not gonna. I'm like, yo, no. What are you talking about? Okay, how much is too much, Sam?
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Okay.
It's not. I like the fact that you ask how much is too much.
Yeah.
Like now, I wanted to ask another question.
Okay.
What price is bride price? Because nowadays everybody comes up with whatever price they want to come up with.
Okay.
It's not uniform where you get to ask. There's no universal agreement amount that okay, that's the amount we're going to be asking.
Yeah.
Like anyone can ask whatever.
I think recently someone got asked $200,000.
Yeah, and apparently that's justifiable for a family that is just starting. Literally, it's justifiable to pay $200,000 for you to get the blessing to go to church and then do that whole big celebration, which another addition on expenses on top of it.
Yeah.
Now, how can we justify that?
Now, okay, notice, so it's 200,000, and I know some people who are watching, they'll be saying, okay, it might be $200,000, but the groom will not be asked to pay it immediately. But they're not going to ask for 1% of 200,000, believe me. It's going to be something north of 80 grand
Oh yeah,
on the
substantial on the table
before the wedding actually goes on.
Yep.
So imagine paying 80 grand. That's just to the family. It's got nothing to do with your wedding, with all the wedding expenses. So that's crazy, bro. So how much is too much? And then there's that negotiation. So you decide you want to go get married to a girl. Your family sit on this big sort of, they sit on opposite sides of the venue, right? And then they're discussing. The elders of the family of both sides, they discuss. So the girl's family goes, you know, we'll charge $200,000. And then your side, you can't go too low, otherwise it will be an insult and there's going to be a fight, you know.
That's right.
So, and then the family of the groom goes, we'll pay 50. And then the other ones, like what I see, Sam, when I see that, bro, I see the commercialization.
That's right.
Of
I was
women,
about to say
bro.
that. Yes. That's
Like
an option.
this is trading women, like
Yeah.
literally, this is human slavery. I would say, not slavery, human trade, masked as culture, in a way. And bro, I don't imagine, Sam, like, okay, so you fall in love with a girl, you put her on this pedestal, like, okay, now I want to marry her. Because the moment you decide you want to marry a girl, you've already placed her on a pedestal above all other girls. And now you're going to go through this cultural process. And then you're seeing her being
Traded.
like that. I don't know how I'll feel, bro. I'll be like, man, like, what is this? I should have just started with this, you know? I should have just gone straight to the elders
Yeah.
and just do the trade thing and then figure it out later, you know? You know, it's too much. I saw the stress, but I think, how do you think this thing affects relationship, dowries?
That's another one. That's a big one. And I think there's actually a documentary being done about that. There is a lot of studies being done on that. And I can't remember the name of the documentary exactly. I know some people are asking for references. I will put that together. Once we post this video on, I will put all this list on. But there's a documentary that was done in Kenya. And also there's one done in UK, actually. This couple were getting married, and also they were put through this system of having to come up with dowry and bride price and all that stuff. Now, in Kenya, they put that 90% of abuse is coming as a result of that. Like, the man will be working so hard to come up with the money that is needed. And now the lady is an object in the house. She's got to fulfill because he paid. And I think, is it Guinea or South Africa, something like that? If the woman cheated on the husband and there's a bride price paid on her, she is required to, her family is required to pay that money back, or she will go to jail.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a good deal.
Yes. It's a good
I would
deal.
say so, because that's insurance, bro. I mean, if you're going to pay that much money, because there's no insurance the marriage is going to work.
But then again, that's defeat the whole purpose, though.
Okay.
That's defeat the whole purpose, and it's fundamentally wrong. if we're basing a partnership based on money, I will pay this on you, and then for you to you because I've got money put on you, you gotta be loyal.
But it comes down to this whole Western idea. It's more a cultural idea of this Western idea of prenup. I think it's the equivalent of a prenup. You know, so you're going into marriage, you come with
whatever you come up. The next person come with whatever they come with.
No, with the prenup. So if you're the man, you're coming up with a lot of money.
Yeah.
You get, so with the prenup, both of you have to agree that whatever you came with into the relationship as the man is yours. So if the relationship ends, whatever you came in with is yours. Whatever you built after that, and that's like written legally on and both of you sign on it.
Prenup is technically to protect your assets.
Pretty much.
The ones you have before you've met the
exactly.
lady.
So what I'm saying is sort of like a cultural equivalent of a prenup. So if the girl does cheat on you, then her family either pay you back your money,
or you jail her,
or she got to do.
But that's some countries do that, but not everyone.
Yeah,
not every country.
That's why I said that's a good deal. It makes sense. Because think about the investment, you know. Like
and probably that's where most of the problem comes in. So a man goes and work themselves so hard to come up with the amount of money, and then they pay, and then suddenly things not working. Yeah. Things not happening. Things not going right, and let's just go to the drastic measure of there's cheating, there's all that stuff. Mans are they're all hard-headed. Yeah. In a blink of a moment, they just go, I pay this much on you, and this is what's happened. Then abuse happens. Then all that stuff happens. This is the kind of problems here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to respect the individuality of someone after spending that much money on them, bro. To be honest.
And now the other good thing is that,
you know what I'm saying?
The value goes up based on the woman's achievement. That's also create another self-esteem issue for other women who did not achieve. Is that means if they did not achieve, they're cheap?
There you go.
People who are watching, please join in.
I think the ladies should just tell us what. So we got Naneth, we've got Hadia on us. On
yep. Thanks for putting in that link for the research or the study that has been done. Thank you. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So this whole idea of bride price, because of the fact that the way I look at it, it's defeat the whole purpose of this unification of two families. Because once we start talking about prices, then we start talking about transactional relationship. And if everything is based on that, then I don't see any joining happening here. I don't see any family build-up happening here, because all this is based on transaction.
Yeah.
I pay this much, now, which makes it even hard for you as the man who's coming to this family as part of this family. Yeah. And your relationship is based with this family's transactional. You were told to bring $200,000. So you pay $200,000. Yeah. For a lot of people, all right, I pay $200,000 and that's it. I don't want to know you after this. Yeah. We're done.
Yeah, there is that aspect.
There is that aspect of things as well.
Okay, I paid you your money, and what else do you
want?
Then
what else do you want from me?
Yeah.
If there's anything happening in the family, I'm not part of it. I already paid what I was owed to pay.
And then not only that, also I think it goes also to the new family's home. So the man feels like now he has the right to have all these expectations.
Yes.
That the woman may or may not be able to do at all, but because he paid that price, it's like, look, I have this investment in you. How dare you oppose what I ask you to do? You know what I mean? It's like, whatever I tell you to do, you got to do it, whether you like it or not, because I paid for you, kind of thing.
That's
Maybe it's not spoken, but the attitude's
there. Attitude, yes.
The attitude's there.
Definitely.
You know, it encourages that kind of attitude. So you find a lot of so, look, it's hard to tell whether it's good or bad, but I can say this: the women are the ones that are losing on this one. Huge, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
A lot of women are losing on this. A lot of women are experiencing a lot of domestic violence because of it. You know, the man just goes violent because the woman, I don't know, had an opinion. And how dare she have an opinion on anything? And it commercializes the person. The person becomes an object and a commodity. I heard about this, bro. Apparently in Sudan, right, the customary law, so a woman, how did it go? So when a woman gets married, she's the property of the man. So she's not even allowed to own land. Bro, is that for real? I was like, how can you forbid someone from owning her own land? And that's in the law of the country, and that's crazy, bro. I can't even begin to think about
that.
how that is okay. You know? So literally when a woman marries, and I think partly, again, our culture back home is very patriarchal. A lot of women don't have jobs. That's why it's easy. It's easy for women to accept a man that has already 2 wives. You know, because men are the sole breadwinners, right? So the only security that she has, oh, this man has money. Where else am I gonna find work? She might sell tomatoes on the side of the street or something, but that's never gonna be enough to send herself to school to get educated. Even if she goes to school and gets educated, the people that hold the gates for jobs are men. You know what I'm saying? So how is she going to do that? You know? So, but if her only security then would be, okay, let me get married to a man who's wealthy, who will look after me, who maybe has connections. So even if I study, he will be my gateway to success or whatever. So it's very hard for women in that way. It's strange, man. I even saw it in my mother, man. I saw it in my mother. Like, she didn't say it that way. She's sort of proud of it. And I understand it from a culture perspective. I'm like, I can't remember the conversation we were talking about. I think we were talking about something that's quite sensitive. I just brought it up, you know. And then she goes, oh, where will I go? I think I mentioned something about how my father was violent. When he was younger, he used to drink a lot. He's good now. But he used to drink a lot. And I think I brought that up when we were, like, after meeting her after many years. And I'm like, why didn't you go? And her answer was like, oh, where will I go?
Yeah.
And that hit me, bro. I never forgot that. She's like, where will I go? And then she goes, this is how things are for us. And that thing, man, it hit me in the head, bro. It hit me in the heart. Because when you see your own mother actually living under this customs and cultures that in many levels are unjust, especially towards women. And it might be, look, these customs of dowry and bride price, it might be right or might be good. It has its benefits, it has its negatives. But look, men are not the ones losing here. It's the women. It's the women.
Definitely.
Always the women.
And I started earlier, I said this topic particularly, it brings a lot of division within the millennials and also within the baby boomers. There are people who actually don't agree with this. But here's what's funny. Here's what's funny. The tradition has been happening for so long that no one wants to be the first one to start saying, no, I'm not going to ask for money.
Yeah.
There's always no, not with my daughter. There's that element there. And also, now, some millennials think it's okay for someone to pay money on them, girls particularly. I've had a chat with a few of them.
Okay.
Funny thing is, they will tell you it's wrong, but they have to pay. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, what's with the stigma? Because I can't see the value of it. Like, people are saying it's for the lady, it's for the value of the lady, but then we can clearly see the women are the ones that actually are being victimized as a result of this practice. But yet, they are the ones who are actually pushing for it. Is it lack of understanding or
Really,
what is
look,
it?
I don't want to go into it, but there's a relationship women have with money. That's another topic.
If that money comes to them, that's fine.
No,
but they don't even see it.
No, there's just a relationship that women have with money. This is another episode, another conversation that we should have. Because it's crazy, bro. Like, bro, money talks, man. Even if it's wrong, if there's money, like, there are a few that would say no, but yeah, that's another topic about money. Yeah, that's another topic about the relationship women have with money. Why do women support that? If you're watching this after this
Yeah.
live video, can you please comment and let us know for the women that who would support dowry,
Not dowry, bride price.
bride price, according as defined by Samson? And if you haven't caught the definition, please go back and watch it again. Why would you support it, knowing that it reduces your value, knowing that it commercializes you as an object?
The question is, do they understand it reduces their value? Because the more it's paid towards them, the more they feel they're expensive.
Why does it make you feel like you're expensive or adds value? Or does it even make you feel that way? That should be interesting to know. That would be interesting to know.
If you're watching, please comment. Let us know.
How much money would be enough for
It's not for you.
reckon? And I know it's a rude question to ask because, of course, you're priceless.
Let's be careful here. We're not trying to objectify.
We're not
objectify
objectifying,
you.
but we're saying
But with
from
the
a cultural
culture,
perspective,
yes, yeah.
we're not objectifying, but we're saying if a man was to approach you, and in your culture you have this bride price, how much would you be happy with, or you would be happy the amount that you'd be happy or you'd be okay with it if your family charged your man with? Yeah, that would be interesting to know.
Yeah.
How about if a man decides to marry you without paying dowry, but of course he'll pay
all the
ring
proceeds for the
and-
whole process? Yeah.
yeah.
How would that make you feel?
How would that make you feel?
Will it make you feel any less of important or expensive? Will it make you feel any valuable?
Yeah. Because I think the only people who can actually bring change into this is actually the women. And women
Yes.
have a lot of voice and power than they think. I think it's hard, obviously, if you're going to bring that kind of change, you have to bring a lot of people together. But I think I think that's the starting point, bringing women to actually cohabitate. Because the only people that are benefiting out of this is the men. I mean, you have someone who will do all your chores for you, clean for you, cook for you, have your kids, have sex with you any day.
And that's automatic expectation.
That's
isn't it?
automatic expectations and all of that, right? So then, what are you actually benefiting from it? You know, so that's that would be an interesting conversation to have with you guys, to be honest.
Now, earlier I said there's a difference between the bride price and the dowry. I don't mind the dowry. I actually wish people could go back to the system of dowry.
Define it again.
Now, dowry is what, and now the reason I don't mind it is not because it's what the family of the lady pays.
Okay.
I don't mind it is because this is the definition of it. It's the wealth of the woman. It's what she brings to, and it's not for her to give it to the man so he can waste it anyhow. No, it has security.
It's like, oh, this is your cash in case your man is broke or
You've got a backup
or
to
he's
go to.
stingy. You can go buy yourself a purse, you know.
And that's what mahar comes in.
What is that?
Mahar is it's Arabic. It's in Arabic. It's the same thing as the dowry.
Okay.
Like that, it's practiced a lot in Muslim countries.
Yeah.
So where the man brings mahar, and the mahar is made up of shagga mafrusha, it's a house board written on her name, a
Furnished
check,
house, yeah.
furnished house, a check written on her name. In case if the man default the relationship, he's got to pay it. And if there is divorce to happen, talaq by Arabic, the man have to pay the agreed amount for the woman. That's what the Muslim doing. And I totally agree with that. Everyone needs to be protected. Because once she comes in this relationship, she's fully dependent on the man. But now if the man start to play around and, let's say, leaves, she's got that backbone to support her.
It's security for both.
It's security, yes.
I like that.
In a way, maybe, because actually that amount is actually a lot. Egyptian, for example, they got like $500,000 or a couple of millions that you got to write a check on you and you got to sign it. And all the people that attended the ceremony will be there to actually back it up. Now, if you decided that, oh, I want a divorce, okay, no worries. Just pay off. And we can do that.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of the protection of the woman, and also that amount of money might be a lot that the man has got no choice but to get his head around things and make things work.
Yeah.
So that's also another aspect of it, that if we wanted to go into it, it might be looking more oppressive towards the man to stay in the relationship that he doesn't want to, because he couldn't afford to get out of it because of the amount of money he needed to pay for him to get out. But also there's also the same thing. I think the woman also have a money that she's going to pay towards that, but it's not as much as the man needs to pay. But the whole idea of...
you're saying women should participate in the dowry, the bride herself should participate in contributing.
Yes. Look.
Oh, you're going to cause a war right now.
The good thing is we millennials... You're
going to cause a war. Because
wait.
I've spoken to a lot of Sudanese girls, right, who, about this dowry thing, a lot of them don't want to contribute whatsoever in it. They don't agree. Maybe they'll contribute towards the white wedding, but when it comes to dowry, no way.
Here you go. Helen wrote that the culture does not allow women to have voice regarding this topic. I believe high percentage of women didn't agree with this practice, but allow it because family said so. So that's not mahar, that's muhar. Okay. Right. So, yes. We give too much power to families. Let me put it this way. At the end of the day, it's the two of you who's going to be stuck in this relationship.
Yes.
It's the two of you who's going to make it or break it.
Yeah.
Yes, there's that element of respect, to respect the family and to do the willing. But then again, to what extent, to what point? That's the question.
At what point? Okay, I like your point. I want to add this to it. At what point does culture become a tyrant, and the members of that culture should either leave that culture or work to change it? And this is why this kind of conversations is very important, in my view, because the only way you move a culture forward, because culture is not a fixed organism, it's always moving. But what I see in our culture, especially in Sudan, it's like it's a fixed thing, and it's reinforced by males at the top based on age. So those guys, they reinforce these ideas, and you can't have dialogue. Not only women don't have a voice, young men don't have a voice.
Yes.
Right? So then what happens is the sovereignty of the individual is literally trampled over by culture. And even though culture is wrong or it's outdated, it needs to be updated, it's not changing. And what happens is you find a lot of young people frustrated with the culture. Then you find what you call rebellion. And then when they see rebellion, of those elders, they see rebellion, then they say, oh, you're allowing the culture of the West to come in.
Yes.
No. I'll tell you why. It's that, what's the difference between the culture of the West and the culture that we have in Africa, in Sudan, and in a lot of African countries? In the West, they have the freedom of speech. Wherever you find a place where there's freedom of speech, the sovereignty of the individual is elevated above culture. So the culture is never like on top. So the individual, that's why they always want to talk, always having dialogue about what is good, what is wrong, always having opinions. And that's the way you move things forward. That's the way you correct the things that don't work.
Right. That's right.
You know what I mean? And in my opinion, I think a lot of the issues of why there's lack of progress in Africa, in issues like relationships and all of this stuff, and even politically, simply because of that. Culture has been elevated above the sovereignty of the individual. I think someone said it in this way. He said, those that have ideas have no power, and those who have power have no ideas. The person that have ideas, they have harnessed their individuality. They're able to think outside of the box. They're not limited by the culture. But what culture wants to do, Sam, what you do with your family is decided for you. How much you pay is decided for you. The names of your children
is decided for you.
Is decided for you. You don't have, everything is set. All you have to do is just come and follow. So what that does, automatically, you don't exist, Sam. The woman and the man, you don't exist, because the culture decides what you should do, when you should get married, when you should when you should divorce, how many kids you should have, the names of your kids, how you should run, the rules of your house. You don't exist, right? And
the only way to exist is for you to become rebellious.
the only way to exist, to find, in hope of finding yourself and your sovereignty again, right? So I think that's the major issue, Sam. And I think these kind of dialogues are very important so that we can move the culture forward, because I think it's not that men are bad. So a lot of women who think about, and rightfully so, who think about this dowry thing, men are evil, men are violent, men are this, and so, and yes, there are some men are violent, but what you realize is there's certain aspects of the culture that allow certain behaviors. This is where I discovered it, Sam. I've seen people, Sam, whose personality and character, if you see them behave, you'll be like, man, this person is toxic. They should not even be married, or they should not be doing this. How can that woman live with them? You know what I mean? But then you're like, how can this even happen? And then you go, okay, what is that culture? And always, often, always, Sam, always, that person likes to date women that are deep into culture. And then this is over time now.
So culture is empowering them to be.
So I've seen a few things. I'm 30 now, so I've seen a few things, right? So and then I'm like, okay, what is that person's culture? And then when you study the culture itself, not the individual, the culture itself allows for certain things. A man can do this to a woman, and it's fine. A man can do this. A man can do this. And then you see the rights of a woman almost non-existent. You know what I mean? And then you match this, and I literally match this the culture, the values of a culture, and the character of the individual. Oh, so that's why you can't handle a modern woman. You can't handle a woman that grew up in the diaspora. Why? Because they're not suppressed by the culture. They have a voice. So the only way you can your toxic character and personality can survive is within that frame of that culture, because the culture allows for it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of women suffering, bro. Not because men are bad, but because the culture allows for certain things that allows for toxicity. And I think part of that, we can see it in this dowry thing, where you find someone asking for $200,000.
Yes, yeah.
What kind of thing is that, bro?
Now the big question is this, Stephen. Like, this has not been always the case since the beginning. Since the beginning, there was a value, there was a joyous, like occasions like this, like wedding, when people come in and do the dowry, the negotiation, all that. There's like some aspect of joy and some aspect of people finding this is our identity, this is how we do things, and people appreciated it. But then along the line, we've forgotten all that. And now we are focused on, I've got a mortgage, and I've got 2 daughters. How much can I get from each one of them to secure that? So everything becomes transactional. Now my question is, how can we take this back to how it used to be? That we are able to teach our children that where we come from, we have a culture, and this is the process on how we do weddings. And then we get them to see the value of it so they can actually practice it. I can't come and tell my daughter that, guess what? When you bring a guy at home, I'm going to charge him $150,000 to be with you. I can't justify that. Literally, I am basing my financial freedom on my daughter. That's the only way I look at it. Now, the other question is, that 150 is not fully for me. It's for the extended family. It's get divided among them. How do you justify that? How do you even explain that? Are they paying back the amount of money you spent on raising them up? Is that the case? How can you, as a father, be sitting and asking for $300,000, $200,000 for your daughter to get married, and you are not intending to give a single dollar back to them so they can actually start a family?
I witnessed something, Sam. I think from a cultural perspective, especially for the males, there's an attitude that if there's children in the family, even in the bloodline, let's say we're brothers, right, and you have kids, somehow I feel like your kids owe me something.
Yeah.
We have that in the culture. It's like your kids owe me. So you have all these uncles that you don't even know. The moment of your wedding, they all show up. Oh, I'm your uncle from this line, from this line, from this line. I'm like, where does that come from? And I learned about this. I thought about something happened like from like a family thing. And someone said this. It's like, oh, what did so-and-so do for us? That thing, man, I was so annoyed, bro. Like, what do you mean so-and-so do for you? Like, who are you even?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? And that's when I realized there's a sense of entitlement from uncles and people you're related to, people in your background, people you haven't even met. The day you get married, if you're the lady, they feel they're entitled to you. And the way
they have to get a piece of the pie.
Yeah, it's like even if they never bought you a school uniform or books or pen, or even dropped you off at the bus stop or anything like that, they just feel like just because you're from that blood, they're entitled for something from you on the day you get married. And bro, I don't know how that how does that yeah, it's a very toxic environment. To me, when I see it, it's just like whenever I go to like these cultural places where wedding is happening, I'm just like, man, some of it is nice, like especially when the party is happening,
it goes well,
the ladies are dancing. That's the happy part of it. But you want to know the toxicity? Go sit with the men.
When the negotiation is happening.
Go sit with the men. That's when you know how this thing is horrible. And they say it openly like it's nice. It's a good thing. It's not. Man.
So how do we take it back? How do we
do that?
Make it of value again? How do we make it where people actually willingly do it instead of feeling the financial burden on them? How can we stop asking instead? I go by this philosophy. When you don't put a value on something and you let the person value that based on what they see, you might get paid a lot more than what you expected.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. And I do videography. And I follow this guy. His name is Parker. He said, the first person to name the price is the loser. That's his philosophy. If you're coming to discuss video production with someone, don't tell them, oh, this is how much I'm going to charge. Nope, never tell them that. Two things. What's your budget? And what are you ready to pay for the work? And you sit back and wait.
But that's what the uncles ask for, though.
They don't ask for budget. They ask for the price.
Yeah.
They tell you we want $200,000.
But isn't that what they ask when they say, are you ready? Like they don't say, what's your budget? They just say, are you ready? Are you ready? But to be honest, it's sort of like selling real estate, you know? So I'm studying real estate. And so how real estate agents determine the value of a certain house is by comparing how much the surrounding property sold for in the past. And then they determine, okay, that 4x2 house sold for 400,000, and that one sold for 402. And this house here is kind of like in the same condition.
Man, the moment we start talking about it, this way, it just sounds so bad.
You know, it's like, oh, okay, so this house is in the same condition. It's like he went to the same university, it's the same
got the same graduation,
you know, it's
same
the same
certificate.
skin tone. And then there's that skin tone thing. If she's lighter, she's a bit more expensive. But, you know, this one is in the same level. So maybe, okay, if that girl got charged $60,000, yeah, this one is a bit darker skin. So maybe we'll go 55. How does that even sound to you, like as I'm saying it? How does that even sound to you guys who are listening?
Someone might argue that this is not how it's done or how it's
Obviously,
said.
they don't use this kind of language.
They don't use these languages. But then if we're just exaggerating things here. Fundamentally, that's what we're talking about.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. You've got an auction happening.
I had the privilege of writing someone's bride dowry requests. I pull up my laptop, man. I set up my table. And then they're like, Oh, dowry. Dowry. How much? They're just calling out numbers, bro.
So, yeah.
They're just calling out, oh, 50,000. Eesh. I'm like, sorry, what did you say? 50,000. I thought 50,000. And then it was the next thing.
Yeah.
They just call out numbers, bro. They just estimate whatever the thing is. And I've seen it myself, bro. So, look, this dowry thing, I think it encourages a lot of people from, discourages
It discourages a lot of people from actually.
discourages from
Yes.
actually. I think I've had one relationship in my time, which I actually liked the girl, bro. Wow, man. I actually liked her so much, bro. But her mama scared me, man. Her mama scared me like hell, bro.
Yeah.
Because, so one of our friends were getting married at that time. So I was already seeing the stress on this guy's face. And then the girl's mom, I don't know if she was joking, but I know this thing is serious because I know her culture, how it's like. Bro, she started telling me the demands just to see if I'm able. I'm like, nah, bro. Like, I already knew if I got to that level, I'm actually not going to go with it. I'm actually going to go through the window. Like, literally, I already put that in my head.
And I think this is where most young men are pushed towards.
Bro, if someone
and
asked
this
me
is
to
not a
pay
funny thing as well.
200,000,
And this is not a funny thing as well.
through the window, bro.
This is
Like,
not a funny thing as well. I'm glad you brought this up. Now, same culture, same one. When you go as a responsible man, you knock the door and they walk you through hell.
Yeah.
Now get the girl pregnant. This process gets done and sorted within no time.
How does that work, Sam? Like, how does it? So if you get the girl pregnant, they expedite the process.
They expedite the process, and they'll probably ask you to pay for this, for that, and done.
So you pay less money, and then they send you the girl home, and you pay the penalties or whatever. It's like, okay, if that's the case, then why don't
and
I
yet
just...
the community complains that our young men are not getting married anymore. This is the reason.
Yeah, bro. It's like, nah, man. If the family of the girl asks me for $200,000, bro, I'm coming through the window, or I'm leaving. You either coming with me or you're not.
This is not what we're telling you to do.
I'm not.
This is not what we're telling you to do.
We're not telling you that.
And we're definitely not for that.
Thanks for clarifying
that. But what we're saying is that the culture makes it very easy when you get the girl pregnant, which is not the ideal way. Everybody wants to bring pride to the family, whether it's the girls or the men's. Yeah. Like the women have this, what do you call it? This fantasy of being on the white dress and being taken away with the white man and the man on the white horse, and all that stuff. And boys do also have this kind of fantasies. They want to be that prince. Yeah. That brings this girl in and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We do have that. Yeah. But then,
like, I've done it right, you know?
Yes. And then you get that pride. Oh, I've done this right. I went to the church and I married and I put a ring on it and all that stuff. Yeah. But when we talk about this kind of issue of dowry and all that stuff, what? No.
It does motivate you to just be like, stuff this.
Yep.
Honesty and trying to be honorable and all of that. Let me just.
And the other thing also, as men, when we get into this deep relationship where we actually want to get married, we think about the next step up. We don't just think about today, this couple of hours. We think about, okay, I need a house. I'm starting a family. I need to save up for my kids' school. I need to do all that stuff. And now you're stuck here with $100 and something thousand of bride price that maybe you managed to get a loan to pay it. Yeah. Then the next couple of years of your life, depending on your work, of course, you got to work to pay off that money, which delays everything else that you had planned for your family.
Yeah. So you have that loan of the dowry, and a lot of families today, they start their families with, new families start with loans. So loan for a new car because you got a new baby.
There you go.
Loan for the house, mortgage. And then you've got your dowry. It's not official, but it's still there.
It's still there.
You know? And so you're starting with all these loans. So you're spending the first 10 years of your relationship just paying things off.
Sorting things off.
You know, like, you're not really enjoying it. And in the middle, you'll have kids. Hey, kids need this, kid needs that. And then, oh, man, it's not really from a logical point of view, it's not really a great investment thinking about it that way.
Mm.
But I really like what you said about how there's a difference between bride price and dowry.
Dowry. Yeah.
And dowry is when the bride's family give money to the man's family.
Yes.
And the man's family give the bride price to the girl's family. So both of them are accountable. So if the lady leaves, that family, the girl's family have to pay back the money.
Mm.
And if the boy acts up as well. So it's insurance on both ways. I kind of like that idea. I think that's the best way to go forward with it. I don't know. What do you guys think? But I think, yeah, for me personally, it makes sense. And then, so that's one. It has to be on both sides. And then number two, I would say that there should be a limit placed on this. It can't go above 50 grand, I would say.
And should it be asked, or should it be a gesture as it has always been?
I think it should. I don't think it should matter. I think. I don't think you can have it all. I think it's going to be very hard to achieve that.
Yes.
But I think you place a limitation, a limit on it, like $50,000, not above, less than $50,000.
What about those who can't afford the 50,000?
Hey?
What about those who can't afford the 50,000?
Man, look, you've got Afterpay, you've got Zip.
Okay.
No, look, but like generally, obviously, look, if you don't have 20, general, I will say this, okay? Look, if you're looking to start a family, obviously not everyone at that level, but as a man, that's something I've been taught. Everyone may be taught differently. Do your best, especially if you live in the West. If you're in Africa, that's something else. If you live in the West, you have no excuse. If you're looking to build a family, you've got to build yourself first.
That's right.
Don't even think about bringing someone else into the world, bringing another woman into your life, until you're actually like confident that you can actually take care of her. So $50,000, I'm not saying is not a lot of money, but yo, you as a man, you gotta. I think it's good in a sense because it makes you on your feet. You gotta be a hustler. You gotta find where that money comes from, and in a way, it makes you a man. That's where I get the value from it, because you gotta hustle for your family. And yeah, I would say, look, if put the limitation on it, maximum $50,000, and then I would say it goes both ways. So the family of the girl also have to pay. So then it's insurance for me as well. Because I've seen a long time ago, this girl got married on the day of the wedding. So it's like what do you call the after party? So the wedding happened in the reception. The lady ran away. At the reception, like, whoop, she's gone. So then what? All the money, just imagine that, bro. The investment of the wedding, all of that money that you spent, and then she just runs away. Like, where's your insurance? So from an insurance point of view, it works both ways. And sadly, as it seems, we can't entirely remove money from relationships and starting families and starting new relationships. I don't think it's possible. But since we're going to have money in this thing, I think we should place some limitations on it.
I think I want to end it with this.
Okay.
This whole idea of bride price and dowry and all that stuff. If the intention behind it is to support the new wedded, by all means, that's noble. That makes sense. But now, in some cultures, the dowry is the only thing that goes towards that. But now the bride price, it's given to the family, which you'll never see a penny of it. It gets divided and distributed among there. And you actually don't even know what is done with it. That's all done and dusted. And if that is substantial, I mean, if that is sort of like a symbolic amount, just to show appreciation, that's fine. But then if it's substantial amount, that could actually buy you a house. You're crippling this family before they even start working.
Okay, if you put it that way, I think $50,000 is a lot of money. Because $50,000 is down payment.
Yeah, you're crippling these people before they even start.
Yeah.
Because they don't see that money back. It's just something that they give and done.
Yeah.
And which I want someone who actually, so that's a challenge. Our elders, if you could justify this practice and why, as millennial, we should continue with it. Now, we who came in the diaspora, we're living in UKs and US, there is already a movement happening where young people do follow this tradition, but they pick the ones that works for them. They're selective on what they pick.
Yeah.
Yes, we do tradition wedding, but we do it this way.
Yeah.
We will bring the gift, we'll bring all that stuff, but all this stuff comes back to us.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're happy to uphold the tradition, but we are tweaking it.
Yes.
We will do this. You want to negotiate? Yep, you do your negotiation. Do whatever you wanted to do. But that money comes back to us for us to start the family.
That would make sense if it's like that, yeah.
That's actually happened in wedding. There's a documentary about it. I've watched it the other day. That the lady decided that, look, and her parents were okay with that, and they were very transparent with that. Like, look, you are not for sale. No man can ever afford you. We're gonna go with the tradition because we want to uphold the tradition because there's a value to it. And at the end of the day, all the things that we're receiving, we're gonna sow it back into your life to start your family, which is noble, which is fair. But the moment you start thinking about, oh, I've raised you up, what am I getting before you leave this house? That's commoditization straight away. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So let's keep the value of this happening. Let's keep the tradition going, but let's do it right. Let's not use it as an investment plan. And I think that's what it is. And look, definitely I would love to teach my kid about our tradition, on how we do marriages, on how we do weddings. And I would expect if they're bringing me an Australian, that Australian would understand this is our way. But not to, cripple them.
Yeah.
So your final thoughts?
My final thoughts, I think we need, as a culture, as a community, as a people, I think we need to restore the freedom of speech, especially for women in this area, so that they get to voice out what they think, especially for young men, and so that there is an open dialogue between the young women and the young men and the elders, because we need that dialogue to be able to move culture forward. We're not saying the culture is bad, but we're saying it worked to a certain degree, but now times are changing. And we're not saying that it's bad, we're saying we need to evolve and change it so that it fits our values as well as young men who are from the culture. It has its negatives, it has its positives, but I think we need to have that conversation and dialogue so that we can move things forward. That's what I would say. And yeah, look, if you're a father, your parent, well, you're a father as well, Sam. Look, just be considerate about that, because there are a lot of young men who are out there trying to be good men and good husbands to your girl. And you might be chasing them away because you think he doesn't have money. And then the one that actually has money comes and gets your daughter, but then abuses her. Then who loses? It's not you. The girl loses. And I think this tradition actually does not empower women. And it's one of the things that it's good, but if women can be given more space to speak, more space to speak their opinion and voice out their concerns and how they would like things to move forward, I think maybe we'll come to maybe a more fruitful and healthy tradition. I think that's what I think.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us today. And that is our 2 cents in this particular topic. It would have been so great if we had a woman with us in the studio so we can actually have this talk and chat. And I haven't seen a lot of comments coming in. Thanks, Helen, for bringing all these facts and all that. Yeah, and it's something that I would really want us to talk even more about it. Let's open up the dialogue. Let's keep on exploring this topic until we see actually things changing about it. We're not saying change the culture. We're saying tweak it so it can work for everybody. Thank you. This has been Futureproof. Until next week, be blessed and stay safe. All right.